G'day so-and-sos and welcome to my sewing room. My name is Cathy and in today's project I'm going to be teaching you how to make book covers. Now these are great if you've got young people going back to school just to funk up their textbooks and their workbooks a little bit, or like me, you can do it to snazz up a journal or a favourite book that you have. Now this one for me is a journal, and who doesn't love Wonder Woman? It's a really simple, easy project, so let's get cracking. So here we have everything that you're going to need today to make your book cover. We have the book that we want to cover, and our formula will work with any size book. We need some fabric, we need some interfacing. If you haven't used this before, have a look at the other tutorial I've done on interfacing. If you really don't want to, you don't have to, but this is a good project to practice this on. We have a ruler, measuring tape, scissors, and or a rotary cutter, a marking tool of some kind. I've got some chalk and some pins. All right, let's get going. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is measure our book. I'm going to do this in inches. So I'm going to measure from the back to the front. So I've got my measuring tape up against here, go around. My book is 12 inches around. Now I'm going to add 4 inches to that, and that will work with whatever size book you have, whatever measurement you have going around, add 4. And then I'm going to measure from top to bottom. Now I'm almost 9 inches. I'm going to add 2. So I'm going to go with 9 because I'm close enough. So whatever your length is from here to here, add 2. So mine is 16 by 11. So what I want to do now is get my fabric, and I want to cut it out 16 by 11. If you're using directional fabric like I am, make sure that you have your direction positioned in the right way. Okay, let's do that. I'm going with this Wonder Woman fabric today. I quite like it. I think it'll look really funky. Now, if you have a look, this is duck cotton woven. So you can see it's kind of thick. It's got some weight to it. But I'm still going to add the interfacing anyway, just to give it a little bit of a crisp look. So I'm going to go off and do that and come back. So I've got that all interfaced. The next thing that we're going to do is fold over each end about a 1/4 inch. Now I'm using this little tool here, has a 1/4 inch mark. That little square on the end is a 1/4 inch. It's called that little purple thing, thang, T-H-A-N-G. I use this for everything. It's really good for holding your fabric as you sew and just as a quick and easy measuring tool. If you haven't already seen my tutorial on items for beginner sewers, go and have a look at that if you like. So we're going to fold that in 1/4 inch. Now we don't want any raw edges showing, so we're going to do that again, just to get rid of that raw edge. So fold it over just on itself, so a 1/4 inch again. Nice hot iron to make that nice and crisp. And then this end as well. And then I'm going to whack some clips on that to keep it in place, just a couple. Oh, it's nice and hot. And then the other end. Now I'm using this wool felt mat, ironing mat, so I didn't have to get up and go to my ironing table. Really quite useful to have one of these just for these smaller projects, just so you're not getting up and down and up and down. Although it is good exercise. But feeling lazy today and didn't want to set up my cameras over and over. So they are a handy little tool. Now I got that one off Temu. I'm going to do another video just of stuff that I got off Temu. What works, what doesn't, what was worth it, and what you're better off spending the extra couple of dollars from Amazon or somewhere for, or your local fabric shop. And put some clips on there. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine and fold those edges down, sew those edges down. Now you'll notice that I'm starting with my needle in my work as always, and I'm quite far over to this edge. If I sew on this edge, this is going to be able to flap up. So we want to sew this down. I'm going to have my machine on nice and slow. I'm going to do a couple of steps forward, a couple of stitches I mean, and then a couple back. Always good practice. Now keeping my fingers away from that needle, I'm going to sew down that edge. Now this thing that I'm using is the same as the one that I showed you over at my table. It's that purple thing. And I want to keep my fingers away from that needle, so I'm using it just to guide my fabric. Now I was on a Facebook page this morning, and there's a lovely member on there that's on there quite a bit, and she's quite experienced, and she posted that she just got out of surgery because she let her finger get a little bit too close to that needle and went through her finger. So always be careful. Life is full of accidents, you know. You can't live life under a rock, but you can minimize your risks. Okay, and we'll do that on the other side as well, and then we'll take it back to the table. Okay, now we've got these ends folded in. We're going to leave our fabric right side up, so the right side is our pattern side. We're going to open up our book and position that pretty much in the middle. Fold in those ends. Make sure that it's lined up at the top and bottom, that you're not wonky. I just want it all to hold in place nicely. Flip my pages over and fold that end in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure a 1/4 inch, or sorry, 1/8 of an inch really, down from these corners, from the ends of our book. So get my ruler. Now I'm just going to line that up. So see how I have that bit of a gap here? That should be enough. Come down just a little bit more and just make a mark there. And then I can pop my clip back in place. Same thing on that end. So you can see I'm about 1/8 of an inch away. Flip him round. And then what we're going to do is sew across those lines right up to the corner. Pop that. You can use pins for this if you like. Now we're just going to make sure that our book closes around that. Yeah, that will be fine. So we're going to take that back to the sewing machine and we're going to sew across our lines. Starting with my needle in my work, a couple of stitches forward and a couple back. Make sure you do back stitch because these seams will have a little bit of pressure on them. Keeping my fingers out of the way, up over that seam, and I'm going to back stitch all the way over that seam. And then we do the same on each corner. And I'll see you back at the table. Okay, so this is what we are left with. Now I'm just going to trim those corners just to reduce a little bit of the bulk when we turn it around. Not too much. I don't want to cut into that seam that we made. I've also gone around and I've snipped all the threads so that it's nice and neat. And we're going to turn it out the right way. Now you could make these for the kids, or you could teach the kids if you're teaching someone how to sew. this is a really, really good project to do. Or coming up to the new term, to do this for the kids' books. Now, another thing that this thing is good for, little purple thing, is turning out my corners nice and neat. Very big on making sure your corners are turned out. Now, if you're using something like a knitting needle, you just have to be really careful that you don't just shove the end right through your seam. You don't want to be doing that. Okay, now I'm going to give that an iron everything nice and flat, and then we'll come back and hopefully it fits. So I've gone ahead, tucked all our corners in. I've made sure that this edge along the side was folded in. Don't try and fold it out over the book. And there we have it. Fits pretty snug and nicely. So that came out good. I'm quite happy with that. So if you have a young person in your life that's about to head back to school, you could do this for their textbooks, or their everyday exercise books would be really cool as well. Or if you have a special book in your family that you want to cover just to keep safe and keep from getting that shelfware, you could do that. This one for me is going to be a journal. I liked it as a journal. I mean, it's got the right amount of pages. It's set up nicely. I liked it. The cover was just a bit boring. But now, I mean, who doesn't love Wonder Woman? Really? If you liked my video, go ahead and please give me a like and a subscribe. It will help me get my YouTube feet under me. And otherwise, have a fabulous day. Happy sewing. And remember, people, it's only fabric. Okay, bye. Bugger.